Okay. I've got all the pieces printed and put together. I can't actually get the leveler off, so that's good. It snapped on real nice, and I can use this to adjust everything, right? And it stays inside, right? So presumably everything should work just fine, right? I'm gonna go ahead and test out how well the leveler works now. Before I do that, actually, I'm gonna show you can pull the spacer all the way out. I can't get the leveler off. I printed this, and then I printed this, and then while this was printing, I snapped this on, and I couldn't get it off. So that's nice. That works just perfectly. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and test out the leveler now. I know it'll fit inside this can of baking soda because but it's a bit long, right? So now I intended to use the leveler by just pushing it with my thumb, but that ended up not working too well. So I have to use it like that. And that is pretty nice, pretty level, looks pretty good. There's a little bit on the back here, that's fine. I can just scrape that off. And now I don't have a measuring spoon to test this against, which is ridiculous that I forgot to get that. I'm gonna go get that right now. Okay, so this is the only measuring spoon I have that I can actually read. It's 2 tablespoons. So I'll see if 2 of these makes 1 of these. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to actually do this. Well, it's promising because it doesn't fill up the whole thing. I'll get another tablespoon of baking powder. I have to put the leveler all the way back. All right. That mound is still too high. I might make a taller leveler, or I keep saying I want to make a scoop shape. I never make the scoop shape. Scrape this stuff off. Grab the funnel, put it over top of the measuring spoon, dump this in. Then I will see about leveling this off. Just pat it down gently. And yeah, that's 2 tablespoons. So yeah, the only measuring spoon I can measure against is the 2 tablespoons. So I'm just gonna assume everything else works. Gonna go ahead and grab the that. Gonna go ahead and put is a plate because all the bowls are in the sink. But yeah, so this works. The leveler still should probably be a teeny bit longer. Or not longer, taller. Another thing is it seems to get stuck basically on its second use, which is annoying. But making it looser than it already is might make it want to fall off. There's a couple ways you can grip it to make it easier to use. This seems to be the easiest way to do that. Right, grab it from here, it's getting stuck, so now I just that could use some work still, but it's functional enough for now that I think it's good. Gonna go ahead and push this back in. It's hard to push back in. Oh look, it's pushing up against. And then it's also even harder to move when it's on top of the piece here, because this, right, adds a little bit of resistance, right? If there's any stuff on top of it, it's gonna get in the way there and not want to move. Sugar's gonna be annoying, isn't it? Let me see if I can do sugar with this. I'm gonna get some sugar. Alright, here's some sugar. This is going to be really annoying, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to grab about a half a tablespoon of sugar. That's a half a tablespoon. I'm going to push up the leveler. And that's easier than anticipated. That's good. It's not wanting to go back on top of the spacer for some reason. Why is it not wanting to slide back onto the spacer? Let me feel underneath it. I don't feel any sugar. Interesting. That's weird. It never did that before. Oh, I see. I see. A little bit of sugar got underneath it. So it looks like in between each measurement, the best thing to do would be to clear out the whole mechanism first. Should I increase the space between these again? I really don't want to. This is pretty good as is. Now it's getting stuck. Why is it stuck now? Yeah, I can feel something in there. It wants to. So it looks like I'd have to do the smaller measurements first and then the bigger measurements. So like if you wanted 1.5 tablespoons, you would set it to the 1/2 tablespoon and then set it to the 1 tablespoon. Right, and then does this want to slide back on top? Okay, good. So I'm going to grab 1/2 tablespoon of sugar again. I'm going to move this back over and see if it changes. And there it is, not wanting to do anything again. Should I hold it down? I could feel sugar on top of this. So yeah, the sugar is annoying. Sugar is going to be annoying to deal with because it's not going to want to cooperate. I have to clear this whole thing out and do it again. Right, there's a tablespoon. Right? There's a 1/2 tablespoon. Bring the leveler back. Get a 1/2 tablespoon. I'm gonna see about holding it down. I'm gonna see about holding this down. So it's doable with sugar. It's just annoying with sugar. So there's the 1/2 tablespoon, right? And then I want a tablespoon because I wanted a tablespoon and a 1/2. So pull it back until I feel the snap. This is taking 2 hands. I don't like that, but oh well. And then I get the tablespoon. Then I move the leveler. That moved all the way back, and now there's a 1.5 tablespoons of sugar on this plate. So it works. Sugar is difficult because of the large grain size of sugar. Salt is going to be similarly difficult. But baking powder, baking soda, flour, most ground spices should be fine. So because they're not so large as to get in the way of the leveler, and the leveler is really the only issue. If you really didn't mind, you could just do that. You know, you could just use your finger anyways. It's not a big deal. I just wish the leveler was easier to use, and I don't think I have a good way of making it easier to use. I might just take some sugar and see if I can measure out how big a single grain of sugar is and make the tolerance, make the distance between the leveler and the spacer here greater than that, so that at least 1 grain of sugar can get through. But I think it's already bigger than that. So salt is going to be also annoying. I'm going to put the sugar back in the bowl. Salt is going to be annoying, but with salt you usually use like the teaspoons and crap. So like, there's a teaspoon of salt. That's like a lot of salt. Let me go get the salt. And then I realized another thing that'll make salt less annoying is that you pour salt. So that's way overfilled, and then I'm going to go ahead and level that off if I can. And again, it's got that annoying thing where it doesn't want to go back on top of the spacer. But another thing is, it doesn't really need to go on top of the spacer. You just got to get it out of there, you know. So like, as long as it gets leveled out. It's gonna be annoying to get that salt back into there though. Or I could just throw it away. This whole thing of salt is like 60 cents. Well, this one was like 50 cents, but then they raised the prices of everything. But yeah, and then I'm gonna have to clear it out. Oh wait, here's a half a tablespoon, right? Do you want a half a tablespoon of salt? That's a lot of salt. So yeah, go from small size to big size, and then that I believe is the 1/4 teaspoon. Yeah, because the next one is 0. So yeah, go from small size to big size to reduce the annoyance of the leveler not wanting to go back in. Not a big issue. And then go from and then if you have to go back to a smaller size, clear out the mechanism here. I wish I had a way of putting rubber ends on things, because if I could put a rubber end around this, right, then nothing would get underneath it and I don't have to clear out this mechanism. Same thing here, right? If I put a rubber end on there, nothing could get underneath it and I could just push everything off, right? And then the mechanism could be cleared more easily. Trouble is, I don't have a way of doing that. So yeah, this works well enough that the design I think I'm gonna stick with. I don't know yet how I'm gonna do the measurements. I could just memorize them, right? I already know I designed them, so I know 0, and then the next notch is 1/4 teaspoon, half a teaspoon, 1/4 tablespoon, teaspoon, half tablespoon, and tablespoon. I know that, you know, so it should be fine. it really did help making this bit taller, right? I can pull on it a lot more easily than the other one. So, and I only did that because I was needing to change it anyways. So so yeah, that's funny. I think this is probably it for now, because the only way I can think of for marking the measurements is putting them here on the spacer, because putting them here, one, will mildly change the volume of the measurements, but two, I would prefer for it to be in a window here or something. Plus, I can't do the tablespoon measurement. Oh yes, I can. Well, because this will be covered, you know? So I can't do the tablespoon measurement if I use the spacer as the line, and if I use this as the line, I can, but it'll be covered. So the spacer, the leveler as the line, the spacer. So I think if I put measurements on it, I'll put them on the back of the spacer, which is an annoying place to have them. It's a really annoying place to have them because, like, yeah, and there's not room to put a window here, right? Because if I put a window there, it's gonna have itty bitty little writing, and my 3D printer can't make itty bitty little writing. So yeah. Other than that, I think it's good. I could always just write with a pen, you know, or a food safe permanent marker if that's even a thing that exists. I don't know if a food safe permanent marker exists, but yeah. I think this is complete. I think this is complete enough for my purposes, at least. So I'll just go ahead and end this project here for now. So yeah, this is the final product. I've noticed in order to I need to use my middle finger to pull on the spacer, and I need to bend this down in order to pull up the clip, the little clicking mechanism, right? And I can do that all the way until here, where this won't let it bend down, right? But if you let it bend down, but it does rotate slightly, so you can get it a little bit, and then so it works, you know, not elegantly, but it works. Yeah, this is complete for now, and it'll go with the measuring cup that I have, and of course this is also dry ingredients only, no liquids. So yeah, I might make a little thimble, not thimble, but I might just cause I can make a little thimble for wet ingredients with little markings, but that would be difficult. But yeah. Also, is this, you can see straight through it because it's clear plastic, and I've noticed looking through this end is more clear than looking through this end. So that's pretty nifty, but that's just a... Anyways, this is complete. There are improvements to be made. I should rubberize it. I could make the leveler taller. I could change the shape of it too, because I've noticed if I want to push it with my thumb, I want to pull it back from the top. So instead of this instead of this piece right here, which I intended to be where I pull it back from, I want to pull it back from the top. So I can just make this ever so slightly taller, not too much taller because then I won't want to pull it back on the top, but I can get rid of that bump here and just make this a more smooth gradient. So that's an improvement I could have made. I could have made the handle a little longer so that when it's all the way out here like this, I have room to bend the handle back. But that's not a big deal because I can still move it. And then I could somehow, if I can, an improvement would obviously be marking the actual measurements, which I may or may not on my own time, but I'm not going to do it for this right here right now. So this is done. All right.